Okay, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to episode 109 of the Fortnite Mythbusters. In today's video, I have so many insane myths, and one myth specifically that a whole ton of you guys have been requesting since the last episode. So, just like always, if you do have a myth you would like me to test in the next or future episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. Also, if you guys are new around here and you are a part of that 80% of my viewers who are not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications. We're trying to hit 1 mil by the end of 2020, so if you do like my content, feel free to consider subscribing to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Let's see if we can smash 20,000 likes. That would be insane. But without further ado, let's get right on in to today's episode. Kicking things off, jumping straight into the first myth. The first myth is, if two bosses are at the same location, will there be two crowns that'll show up when you shake a henchman down? So in doing this myth, we actually didn't shake down a henchman. We actually shook down one of the bosses because we brought Brutus all the way to Meowscles. This is actually the easiest way to get two bosses to me, and surprisingly, they are in the same faction. You know, both of them are shadow bosses, I guess you could say. But doing this myth, it actually took us a little while to do and multiple attempts because Brutus kept bleeding out, and it was kind of difficult to actually get Meowscles to revive Brutus without actually locking onto us and, you know, kind of shooting at us instead. After Meowscles actually revived Brutus, we followed Brutus out a little ways. I then knocked him and shook him down, and to my surprise, it actually shows two crowns in the location. If you don't know, whenever you shake down a henchman, above every single boss's, you know, wherever they are, it'll show a crown rather than just a dot like your regular henchman. Something interesting that I learned though is that I was actually able to shake Brutus down twice, and after a certain distance, it would not register that Meowscles is there. Going into the next myth is, while shaking down a henchman while next to a turret, will the henchman block the turret's bullets? Now, I thought this was a pretty good myth because whenever you shake down a henchman, you literally pick them up, and if you could actually use the henchman kind of as a body shield, that would be a little bit overpowered. When trying this myth out, I went over to the agency, and they have two turrets that are right next to the vault, kind of guarding it. I had no disguise on. I then dropped the henchman and shook him down, and the turret literally shot directly through the henchman. It literally almost killed me. It did a good amount of damage. Looking back at the footage in slow-mo as well as even in replay mode, it seemed like the first couple of bullets from the turret actually hit me directly, but at least a couple literally went directly through the henchman. Like, the henchman theoretically should have blocked it, and I shouldn't have taken any damage, but it seems like the turret can't do any damage to their own teammates, I guess you could say. The weird thing is though, the next time I went in front of the turret, it didn't even seem to lock on to me, and I didn't record this part, but a couple of henchmen were walking straight past me too, so it seemed like I became fully immune to them. I don't know. Going into the next myth is, can you scan Midas at the vault keycard scanner to open the vault like how you could scan henchmen as well as bosses at doors and even chests? Something that I'm sure all of you guys know about is whenever you kill a boss, obviously it'll drop their mythical weapon as well as the key card, which you do end up using to, you know, open up the vault to get some insane loot. The whole point behind this myth is, can you actually open up the vault without having the key card in your inventory and just kind of scanning the boss itself? But unfortunately, whenever I tried that, no matter what, if I, you know, try to drop him, shake him down first, any type of way that I try to scan the boss, it always said access denied unless I actually had the key card itself in my inventory. I mean, it totally would make sense if you know, you scan the boss at the, you know, the key card scanner, because the boss literally has a card on it, and the boss should be the one who is the only one who is able to open up the vault. But in this case, it seems like, you know, you have to actually have the card in your inventory itself. Jumping straight into the next myth, is, what happens when you throw a mythical goldfish at the vault? Will the fish break the walls? Obviously, in a real game, the mythical goldfish is a 1 in a million chance to get, so I had to improvise by also using the vault in creative mode. If you guys didn't watch the last episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters, I basically recreated the shark vault, you know, the old version of the shark vault. You can't build it in the exact same locations. Everything is the exact same in this vault. All behaviors, everything's the exact same, you know, as a regular game. More info on the last video. But when I got the mythical goldfish, I started throwing it at the walls, the roof, the floors, everything in there, even my own wooden walls, and the only thing that it would actually do damage and actually break were my personal builds. And you know, that totally makes sense because throwing a mythical goldfish at a fully healed metal wall, it only does 200 damage. So thinking the mythical goldfish would actually break something inside of the vault is, you know, it's not not going down. Using the fish as well, I also found this secret spot that you can hide, you know, some throwable items, but it's not really useful. Going into the next myth is if you completely destroy the yacht, will the vault be floating or will it get destroyed as well? Now, the thing about the yacht when I was doing this myth was you can't actually break the bottom. You can't break the floors. You can't break the actual bottom side of the boat, but you are able to, you know, break all of the walls around it, everything else, and you could even break this back deck, which is fully made out of wood, and that would actually collapse. But the actual structure of the boat, you know, the very bottom part that actually keeps it floating, you are unable to actually break that nor get access beneath it. With that being said, I ended up destroying the entire boat itself, you know, breaking the entire thing, and it all collapsed. But the vault was still standing. The walls were still unbreakable. Even though I was in a battle labs, this would behave the exact same way in a regular game. I just needed more time because I was solo. Obviously, you have to get super lucky with the zones, and if you don't know, I have one of the worst RNGs in the game. I thought it was still kind of cool though to actually see the yacht literally just a floating piece in the ground, no actual structure to it, just literally the bottom of the yacht. I've never seen that in game before, so that was definitely a first. But yeah, anyways, you can't break the vault open that way. Going straight into the next myth is, do henchmen pick up ammo when they're walking through loot like how a regular player does? So the biggest thing with this myth is actually trying to get the henchmen to pick up the loot. In this case, I used ammo because obviously they don't pick up weapons, they don't pick up heals or any of that sort of stuff. Ammo is the only reasonable thing. So I saw this henchman on the outside. He had a scar, which obviously takes, you know, the regular bullets, but he walked straight through the loot, and I then noticed that you actually have to, you know, press E or your use button to pick up that loot. You can't just walk over it. I then tried to trick, you know, the boss Midas with a drum gun, which also takes regular bullets, to actually pick up the loot by opening up a door, which you do use the exact same keybind. You know, it's a use keybind to pick up the loot, but unfortunately every single time, you know, I place the loot in different areas, try to get it closer, maybe have him somehow pick it up on accident. He just kept opening up the door. They literally have no option to, you know, actually pick up the loot. In settings, there's a thing you could enable that'll let you automatically open doors, which is what these bosses as well as henchmen have. They do not actually have the option to, you know, use, which is how you pick up certain things. Going straight into the next myth, and a similar myth to our second one in today's episode. This myth is, can you use a henchman boss to scan open a chest or even a door? Now, I'm pretty sure I tested this myth a long time ago, like at the beginning of Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2, but on the last episode, this myth got like 500-600 likes, so I decided to test it out once again, just in case a lot of you guys may have not seen this myth. Anyways, in game, I basically knocked down the boss, obviously Midas. This works with, you know, every single other boss where they have, you know, scanner chests, scanner doors, all of that sort of stuff. I then carried him to the nearest scanner door. I, you know, held him up for a scan, and surprisingly it approved, and the door opened. It said access granted, but it doesn't really matter. You could end up just breaking the walls if you need to get through anyways. It also gave me access to the chests as well. You know, the chest open, all of the loot, you know, fell out, but the loot in those chests is not nearly as good as majority of the mythical weapons from the bosses anyways. But in game though, would I ever use the boss to scan open a chest or even the door? Probably not, just because it takes longer, and you could always do the glitch, you know, to open up a scanner chest way quicker if you actually do have the henchman disguise on for that location. Going straight into the next myth is, what happens when you throw a boombox into an unbreakable vault? So just like earlier on in today's episode, as well as the last episode, we are still using the vault in creative mode, but everything is the exact same. The vault is built to, you know, literally be the exact same as the regular game. All of the walls are unbreakable. You are able to build in the 1x1 in the back, but you cannot build at the very beginning, so it's literally replicated. More info on how this vault actually behaves is in the last episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters, so if you guys don't believe me, go watch that Mythbusters. It's a very interesting one as well. Anyways, I ended up throwing a boombox inside, and surprisingly it would not break the builds that were, you know, on the back 1x1, even though the boombox was in an unbuildable zone. I then threw a boombox in the back 1x1, and it would not break any of my builds until I actually broke it myself, and I tried to place down a brand new one where it would then immediately break it, and it would continue to break it until, you know, the boombox ran out of the music and its lifespan. Overall, this was something pretty interesting, and I wasn't really expecting this outcome to happen with the boombox inside of the vault. Something weird is going on. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like, and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on those post notifications to never miss another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. Subscribe to the channel so you know, we could hopefully hit 1 mil by the end of the year, and I will see you guys next time.